Well, Henshaw here again, constitutional kook headquarters. And heading into the new year, I realize a lot of you people out there have some serious trouble in certain financial areas, none of which is of your making, which is the key to the kingdom here. And I'm going to be addressing today the issue with landlord tenant and evictions, quote unquote. And I approach this from a much different scenario, and it's one you're going to love because in order to get you into a landlord tenant situation, you have to get into a court, quote unquote, court here in California. It's called unlawful detainer, but they can't do it because they don't have jurisdiction. And this is what I will teach you how to do. And in theory, at least, if you want to do it, present the case to your landlord before it ever gets that far and convince them they don't want to take risk versus gain here. Because if you beat them, that applies to every situation they have as a quote unquote landlord. And it may apply across the board from every landlord from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon, especially if it gets decided by the 9-0 parts, aka the U.S. Supreme Court. And we have issues that powerful. Among other things, you'll learn, and I'm talking particularly about corporate landlords here. And these days, that's what most of what we have. You have the occasional mom and pop landlords, and whether I would use these issues against them, I don't know. That's a tough one. With corporations, it's a no-brainer. That's what you'll learn from getting my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. Send me an email, uwincourt@gmail.com, is that corporations only have jurisdiction in court based on their corporate citizenship. That citizenship, and this is the U.S. Supreme Court saying it, as so often is the case with the authorities I cite. Corporate citizenship is based on the state citizenship of those who incorporated the corporation. Bank of Augusta Bureau, 1829. The problem with that is, for them, that we can also prove that there are no states remaining which were admitted into this union. And by golly, wouldn't you know, I have an 83-page unopposed legal brief on that issue. If that's true, no states, no state citizenship, no corporation has standing in any judicial court, that exercises the judicial power of the state of California, for example, noting that the current constitution allegedly in effect doesn't even mention vesting the judicial power in any court whatsoever. Subject matter for another day, but trust me, they're right about that. And or the judicial power of the United States. We can't apparently reach either one. As you've heard if you've listened to recent videos, not so fast, as I believe I found ways to do both. And that may come into play in this setting as well. But that said, no standing. And not only that, we're talking about a rent agreement, quote unquote, that you were fraudulently induced to enter because the landlord, quote unquote, failed to provide all the terms of the agreement when you entered into it. They conveniently forgot to tell you what I just told you, and conveniently forgot to mention the dollars that they're using here are undefined. Defined, if at all, by the president acting as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And as I recently found out, in addition to that, the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. That's what all these bastards in Washington, D.C. think we are. Fancy Ngozi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. They think we're all enemy aliens. That's what has to stop. And we, the people, ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Have you seen anything remotely resembling that out there for the last 60 or 80 years? I'd love to hear it. But that's the position landlords are in. There's no valid agreement, no enforceable agreement, even if their courts, quote unquote, could otherwise enforce it. These are the kind of issues you want to be raising. And like I said, maybe doing it in advance. And I'm going to be prepping a position paper for just that purpose that you'll get when you get my modestly priced materials, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And if you're in trouble with landlords, send this little love letter and say, on advice of counsel, and explain to him what I have just told you, and see what you can work out here. And in fact, landlords, quote unquote, actually, in theory at least, should be in favor of this. But then the big corporate ones, they volunteered their way into a system that they knew or should have known was flatly unconstitutional. And I hope we can make them pay the price for that. You get them to stand down with an eviction case or threaten them, and we probably never have to file anything. But with a petition for redress of grievance, it's going to cost them a hell of a lot of money, because what they're doing and what every official actor, quote unquote, will be doing in one of their, quote unquote, state courts is exercising jurisdiction the court does not have, and or preventing a court that has jurisdiction from exercising it. Wouldn't you know, the U.S. Supreme Court, yet again, and this is Chief Justice John Marshall, that indelible icon of Harvard and Yale, who was never wrong, was he? And he said this. He said that for a court to exercise jurisdiction it doesn't have, or not to exercise jurisdiction that it does, the one or the other is treason to the Constitution. How simple is that? And that's where we're going to have them, because all of them have sworn duties to be bound by this Constitution and the laws enacted in pursuance thereof. Article 6, Section 2. It's about damn time they started doing it, and we have the power to make them do it. And that's what you want to learn and teach your children and your posterity, and make it better for all of us. To do that, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll get you information on my materials, and we can take it from there. But it's so good. I mean, you can see I'm in my 74th year here. Life is ahead of me. The truth does that for you, just like it did in Columbia, South Carolina, where I shut the bastards up 30 seconds of my first appearance. And I'm standing there manacled hand and foot in a red jail suit. They're the ones in trouble with the law, and everybody knew it. Damn, that's good. And we can do the same thing with you, with your landlord tenant. And really, with the proper perspective, they should be in favor of it. Like I say, the big corporations won't, because they don't get it or they don't want to get it. Nevertheless, we have the power. We're the sovereign body politic that created all of this government and the Constitution. And the landlords, as a corporation, are agents of our agents in the quote unquote state capital. We're principals. We tell them what to do. How is that for a different perspective? And that's how it should be. So the landlord has no power to go into a court that they knew or should have known didn't have jurisdiction and attempt to do anything. And that may beat them in their own corrupt courts. And by the way, one of the things you get with my document package, you get a lot of backing from me with, as much TLC by email as I can provide, phone consultations, and a Zoom appearance at a contested hearing as an expert witness. And they could never allow that to happen, but they can't prevent you from doing it either. So that said, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll get the information out on my modestly priced materials. You're going to love it, and they're good across the board, by the way. It doesn't matter, landlord, tenant, student loan, traffic court, family court, you name it. It works across the board because there are no official actors there. You'll learn all about that, and it's dead bang black and white proof. That's how good this stuff is. So send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Meanwhile, subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. As soon as we start cutting out all this divide and conquer crap that's been going on for at least 150 years, and all get on the same page here, same issues, same status, and in a judicial court, we get the bastards off our backs. Thank you.